This was me 2 months ago at 239 pounds. And present day, I am down 16 pounds at 223 pounds. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you a full day in the life of a 19-year-old bodybuilder on a 6-month cut. I'll be showing you my meals, how I make them, my workouts, and how much cardio I do. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe because I'll be posting a new episode every month. But let's get into the video. First things first, we have to take our supplements. The first thing that I take is a daily multivitamin. Pretty much everyone is deficient in minerals and vitamins, and just taking one of these a day can fix that. Plus, some of the minerals have been proven to help with your testosterone production, and I'll have them listed on the screen, but down the hatch. Next, probably the most famous fitness supplement, creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is probably the best form that you can get, and this whole tub is only like $20, so it's very affordable. This is by far the most researched supplement and has so many benefits. And I dry scoop it because a lot of the times it doesn't actually mix well with water. And if you dry scoop it, it doesn't change the effects that it gives you. And lastly, this is something new that I've been doing, taking electrolytes in the morning. Whenever you go to sleep during the night, you don't drink any water. So when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be extremely dehydrated. So it's very important that the first thing you do in the morning is drink some water and take some electrolytes. Well, that is all the supplements that I take, but let's get to the first meal of the day. This is my first meal of the day and my pre-workout meal. 2 servings of light Greek yogurt and a bagel egg sandwich. But here are the ingredients that you'll need to make this, and here are the macros, but let me show you how to make it. To make it, I would highly recommend getting a cast iron pan because non-stick pans have chemicals on them that are bad for you, or you can use a stainless steel pan. Just preheat it to like medium-high heat, whatever it is for you. While it's preheating, get half a cup of egg whites, I already pre-measured it, and then toast your bagel. People always think that when you're trying to lose weight, you need to eat a super strict diet and eat only clean foods. Yes, that is good to do, and if you have the ability to do so, I would recommend doing it. But bagels are one of my favorite foods, and I can still eat them on my cut because I can fit it into my calories. So if you have a food that you're craving and you still can fit it in your calories, I would do that. As long as you maintain your deficit with the foods that you're eating, you will lose weight. Just don't eat super high fat foods or high in sugar foods. Next, spray a little bit of oil from a spray bottle like this because you want to keep it as low calorie as possible. And with your half a cup of egg whites, just dump it in there and then put a lid on it so it doesn't stick. Once the bagel is toasted, just set it aside and wait for the eggs to be done. The reason I chose a bagel as my pre-workout meal is because it's a great source of carbs. And if you want the best pump of your life, have a bagel before your workout. Carbs is what gives you a pump, so it matters which form of carbs you eat before your workout. There are simple and complex carbs. Complex carbs would be oatmeal or potatoes, and simple carbs would be something with sugar in it or bread. Once the egg white is fully cooked, just flip it over. And make sure to season it with salt and pepper. Then grab a slice of whatever cheese you want. I'm choosing cheddar, and place it somewhere on the side and then put the lid over the top. While that's going, you can choose any condiments you want and put it on your bagel. I'm choosing light mayonnaise and mustard. Once the cheese is fully melted, fold the egg white into like a square shape. Then add your egg whites. And that is a completed sandwich. And I'm eating this around 30 to 45 minutes before my workout. You always want to do that with your pre-workout meal so your body has time to digest the carbs. Once I'm done eating this, I got to go work out, so I'll see you guys there. All right, so we made it to the gym, and unlike last week, instead of doing 30 minutes, we're doing 45 minutes of cardio because last week I only lost 1 pound, and the week before that, I didn't lose anything. So I'm lowering my calories by around 100 and increasing my cardio by 15 minutes. I'll be honest, today I'm splitting it up. I'm doing 30 minutes right now and then I'm doing 15 minutes after, just because I don't want to get too tired from the cardio and not be able to have a good workout. I will say this, a lot of people think that dieting is the hardest part about weight loss or your workout is the hardest part. In my opinion, the hardest part is the cardio. Unless you're like a runner and you actually enjoy doing cardio, I rarely meet people like that. Cardio is just the most unenjoyable thing to do, especially if you're doing like incline walking for 45 minutes. And because it's something that I don't like doing, it's one of the hardest things to stay consistent with. And a lot of people struggle to stay consistent with the difficult things. If you can stay consistent with the difficult things, that shows your true character. I think it's important not to count the days that you're consistent. If you can't remember the last time you didn't do cardio or go to the gym, that means you're pretty consistent. And if you struggle doing cardio, I recommend just like I watch a movie sometimes whenever I'm doing it just to pass the time. But as long as you get it done, that's great. Anyways, I'm gonna do this for 30 minutes and then we're gonna get to the workout. So I'll see you there. Today we got a simple chest day. So we're just gonna be starting with like 2 warm-up sets with like however much weight this is. I used to use a Smith machine a lot, but the one that is here, it's not smooth all the way, so I started doing free weights, and I actually prefer this a lot more. And when I used to do it, I wasn't really at steep enough of an incline. And this one, you can't adjust it unless you adjust like the seat. But this is just at a set incline, which means I can't really mess it up. If my math is correct, this is 205, and I'm gonna be doing this for 3 sets for 8 to 10 reps. What's great about this is I don't have a spotter, so if I fail, I can just put on one of these hooks. That way I can train to as close as failure as I can. And because I'm cutting, like I said in my last video, it's important to train at the same intensity or higher of an intensity to keep all the muscle that you gain during your bulk. And I will say this, since I've started my cut, I actually feel stronger than I did on my bulk. I don't know if there's some science behind that, but if there is, let me know. These are cable chest flies. Usually I do the seated chest fly machine, but that machine was taken, so I'm doing this. If you're one of those people that is hitting a certain muscle group and the machine that you usually do is taken, that does not mean you can just cut your workout short and just not hit the muscle group and be like, oh, I can't do it today. There are so many other exercises that target the same muscle group that you're trying to hit. Don't give yourself the excuse to just not hit it, which is what I'm doing right now. Although I do prefer the machine version of this, I'm still gonna do this. I do like this exercise. It's just a little rough on my shoulders, but it's fine. But I'm just doing 3 sets for 12 to 15 reps. And of course, I'm going to failure. This is standing shoulder press. This isn't really hitting your chest, it's really just your shoulders. But I saw a video, I think it was Jeff Nippard. He said shoulder press doesn't only hit your front delt, it also hits your side delts a lot. So I just recently added this to my routine. And with everything I'm doing, I'm resting like 3 to 5 minutes in between. And some people might think that's a lot, but if you're resting like a minute to like a minute and a half in between sets, you're probably not training hard enough. And if you were actually training to almost failure or complete failure, you would have to rest a lot more than just a minute. And sometimes I rest even longer than that, especially on leg day, because I go extremely hard on leg day. If you want muscle growth, you need to train hard. And especially with legs, you need to train hard. But like I said, that applies to everything. But I'm doing this for 3 sets for 8 to 10 reps. And of course, I'm going to failure. And that's about it. These are the last exercise that I'm doing. These are dips. Most people don't think of dips as a chest workout. Most people think that it's for your triceps, but if you know how to do it, you can focus more on your chest. But like I said in the beginning, this is a very simple chest workout. You really don't need a lot of exercises to hit chest. If you do more than like 4, you're just overdoing it. And you might be thinking right now, why isn't there a lower chest exercise? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a person with an underdeveloped lower chest? The answer is no. It's more aesthetically pleasing to have a overdeveloped upper chest or just a
large upper chest, especially for bodybuilding or just day-to-day life. When I first started out, I did do lower chest exercises, but around 3 years ago, I just stopped doing it because you really don't need to. If doing your body weight is too light, obviously you can just add some more weight with like one of those belts that you can add weight to. But for me, I'm 226 pounds currently. So, I mean, that's a lot of weight for me. But if you don't have something where you can do dips like this with just your body weight, there is obviously machines for it, but the machine here is broken, so I can't really do it. And I am doing 3 sets for 12 to 15 reps, and obviously I'm going to failure. But that's the end of the workout, and I'll see you back at the house. Right after your workout is the most important time to consume protein. So we're gonna be having a protein shake. And here are the macros, and of course the ingredients you'll need to make it. So let's get into it. Okay, so first I'm just gonna be using a small blender that can use something like this, but a normal blender size will work just fine. Step 1, just add 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk. Unsweetened almond milk is as low calorie as milk gets, so if you're cutting, you want to use this. Then I'm just gonna add 1 scoop of chocolate peanut butter protein powder. Preferably you want chocolate or peanut butter protein powder for this. Then for some fat, I'm gonna be adding 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. When you cut, you need to eat fat. A lot of people think they need to restrict their fat intake, but what you should be doing is restricting your carb intake. If you aren't consuming enough fat, your testosterone production will drop. And if you feel like crap pretty much the whole day on your cut, and you're not even like sub 12% body fat, it's probably because you're not consuming enough fat. Although peanut butter is not the best source of fat, it still is fat and will help with my testosterone production. Then for fruit, I am choosing mixed berries, and I'm adding roughly 1 cup. I usually don't weigh out things like this, but when I add it to my calories, I usually overestimate so that way I don't eat too much. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more almond milk so that way it's not too thick, and it's time to blend it up. Like I said before, it's really important to consume protein right after your workout because your body needs protein to repair your muscles. So the quicker you start consuming protein, the quicker they start repairing, which means more muscle growth. But other than this, it doesn't really matter what time you consume protein. As long as you're consuming 0.6 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, you will make gains. But there is one more meal that I'm going to make, so let's get to it. And for my last full meal, I'm gonna be having 4 chicken quesadillas. But here are the ingredients that you'll need to make this. And here are the macros. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna be doing is weighing out 1 pound of chicken, or as close to a pound as I can get. I only figured this out recently, but apparently a lot of people don't know that you're supposed to weigh your protein before you cook it, because once it's fully cooked, all of the water is going to leave the protein, which makes it way less, which means you're eating a lot more than you actually are. And that applies to all food, by the way, so make sure you weigh out everything before you cook it. It doesn't matter which cut of chicken you choose, but as long as it's low calorie and high in protein, that's the best you can get. But right here we have 15.9 ounces, basically 16 ounces. So let's get to the next step. Next, if you don't have an air fryer, you can cook it in a pan, but I prefer using an air fryer. It is a lot easier, and in my opinion, you get a lot more flavor. Just lay these in here parallel to each other. Make sure that there's some room in between each tender, something like that. For seasonings, if you have taco seasoning, that's pretty much the best you can get. And I'm just putting a little bit of that on, and I'm gonna add some garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. And like always, just a little bit of oil to not make those calories too high. While the chicken is in the air fryer, make sure you get a bowl big enough to hold all of these ingredients plus the chicken. Then add a ½ cup of frozen corn and frozen peas, a ½ cup of cooked white rice, and a ½ cup of fat-free cheese. The important part being that it is fat-free, because the macros on this are insane. 45 calories for 0 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbohydrate, and 9 grams of protein. So for just a ½ cup, there's 18 grams of protein. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give anyone trying to lose weight is invest in lower calorie options for food. Most foods have an alternative lower calorie option, or maybe not just less calories, but more nutrients and better macros. Once the chicken is done, I'll be honest with you, this looks pretty damn good. Cut up the chicken into small pieces. And if you cooked it just right, I'll be honest with you, it kind of just shreds apart, which is actually better than just cutting it up. Once it looks like this, just add it to the bowl of your other ingredients. Then just mix this up pretty thoroughly. And if you want to add more seasonings, you can. I'm gonna add a little bit more taco seasoning and garlic powder. Now, what makes this meal low calorie is the low calorie tortilla. Compared to a normal tortilla, it is less than half the calories in a regular one. The next step is to fill the tortilla with your mixture. While you're doing this, put a pan on the stove and turn the heat to almost as low as it can go.
Once it looks something like this, spray a little bit of oil into the pan on the stove and then just lay them in there. And you need to put a lid over it so that way the cheese melts and combines everything, which prevents it from being a complete mess. And in total, I'm doing 4 quesadillas. Once it looks something like this, that means it's done. Looks pretty dang good, I ain't gonna lie. I'll be honest, you cannot eat this without some sort of sauce, so I'm just gonna be having some salsa with it. This stuff's like 10 calories for 2 tablespoons, which is really good. Well, this is pretty much the last meal that I'm gonna eat. There are some other small little things that I have throughout the day just to reach my protein and calorie limit, but I really don't need to go over it. And before I forget, here are my total daily macros. But this is going to wrap it up. And remember, this is only episode 2 of my 6-month-long series. Every month I'm gonna be posting a new episode. So there's gonna be 4 more episodes along with some other videos. So make sure you like and subscribe with your notifications on so you don't miss out on the next episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one.